Welcome to another episode of Can't Be Explained. Week 1 of the NFL season has officially ended, so that means we're on to week 2. Super excited about it. Week 1 had a lot of headlines, a lot of good games, a lot of things going on, so we got a lot to cover. We're also going to look at a little bit of what's going to go on in week 2, starting with the Thursday night football game of the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills. So we got a lot to really unpack and really kind of get into, including the recaps of the bets that was given out for last week. So super excited about that. We did really good, so that's a good thing. Hopefully you guys put in some plays and we made some money together. So hopefully we can keep that trend going and see what we can do this week. But before we jump into any of that, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, leave a comment, go ahead and like it, share it as well. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, anywhere like that watching it, go ahead and share, repost, whatever you need to do. I really appreciate it, and I thank you guys again for tapping in. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So I'm just going to touch on what I felt like with the biggest headline of week 1, and this is kind of how this show is going to go. So after we recap, where we're going to start is right with the Chargers. So we're going to jump right into it. We got Jim Harbaugh's debut. What can I say, man? I'm super happy with my team, super excited about what the season is going to have in store for us. I know, man, we beat the Raiders. It was a division game. If you remember, I did come on here and I did say how I was a little bit worried, and I talked about how, the underdogs on the home openers, well, not home openers, but to open the season for underdogs in a division game, they're usually pretty good against the spread. They're like 71%. So I didn't really want to bet that, but I still had hopes that my Chargers was going to pull it out. Of course, that's just kind of my biased opinion, so I didn't want to put it on a bet for you guys to take. But hey, we pulled it out. We more than pulled it out. We covered the spread. We won 22-10. So, Raiders, they kind of sorry. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought they would be a little bit more competitive. They were competitive in the first half. Gardner Minshew was kind of moving the ball a little bit. Madison scored off of, missed tackles, whatever. That was more to do with us than to do with them. Devontae Adams, like everybody said he was going to get off. He was going to cook us and all of this stuff like he usually does. He was mad about the little Pop-Tart thing our social media team did. And guess what? He ended up with like 59 yards. So I'm really impressed with my defense. I was really impressed with my O-line in the second half. The first half, we started out real shaky with the blocking. We couldn't pick up the stunts and stuff. It felt like in the second half, we went into halftime, made the adjustments needed, which is what a good coaching staff does. They see what their players not doing right, make adjustments, and we was able to pick up all of those stunts and get the running game going. What can I say, man? This game was everything that they told me it would be with Jim Harbaugh. I didn't keep up with Jim Harbaugh a whole lot when he was coming up in San Fran and Stanford and all the other places he went. I was younger, so I didn't really keep in touch with how he moved the ball, his philosophies, all of that stuff. I didn't really keep in touch with that. I did see him at Michigan, but I'm an Ohio State fan, so I didn't really watch them too closely. I just thought we were better than them until whatever. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But either way. But yeah, I mean, what everybody told me, it was going to be a running team, Greg Roman running offense. I knew him from Baltimore. So I did expect that, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, we toted the ball for 176 rushing yards as a team. J.K. Dobbins had 135 of those on 10 carries and a touchdown. Gus Edwards didn't really get going like that, but I expect him to. He still got a good amount of carries. He was able to still get about 2 or 3 yards, 4 yards to kind of keep us ahead of the chain. So I like it. I like how it went. Herbert, Herbert, that was the most impressive part to me about the whole thing. Herbert only threw for 144 yards and a touchdown. So for us to have 176 yards rushing and Herbert only have 144 yards and 1 touchdown, and we win by 12 points, almost 2 touchdowns, that's super impressive. We've never been able to do that. It's either Herbert or nothing. So that's going to give me a lot of hope for the future and what we can do as a team. And when Herbert was a little shaky out there, he missed a few throws, had people open that he missed early, didn't see him open. And then I just think he had the injury. He didn't have all of the training camp as you would have wanted him to. He didn't play in the preseason, so he's coming in. He hasn't played since he missed the last 5 games of the season last year. So he was a little shaky, a little rusty. That was expected. Had to shake that off. But I think as he comes along, he's going to be better. If we got a running game like this and we're not asking him to do a lot, we got a defense that can keep the team to 10 points, we can be great. I know it was the Raiders offense, but it definitely gave me some hopes. We go to Carolina this week, which we'll talk about that a little later when we get into the bets. But super excited about the future of the team. Joe Alt looked like a monster. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of upset that we took him in the first round, but well, not upset. It's just like I wanted a weapon. We got rid of Keenan, we got rid of Mike. We already needed a weapon with them, and then without them, we definitely needed it. So we didn't get it. We got Alt, but then we got McConkey in the second round, so I was cool with that. Still wanted Neighbors, but I can't go against what Alt did. I mean, he locked up Crosby. I think they went together head to head 11 times, no pressures, no sacks. You can't ask for much more than that. Slater didn't give up any pressures, and we only gave up one sack as a team, even with the offense being shaky and the offensive line being shaky in the first half. So you can't really ask for more than that. So super excited. Defensive side of the ball, forced 4 sacks, 3 turnovers. We had 2 fumbles and a pick. I mean, that was a complete team win. Exactly what they told me Harbaugh would do. So, I'm just super excited about that. But yeah, man, we'll see, man. We'll see how the season shake out. I usually get super excited. I'm happy about it. I'm ready for it. And then somehow, some way, we figure out a way to do something that pisses me off. So let's just get rid of all those bad vibes, and we're going to do what we need to do. So moving on, though, another big headline from the weekend was Dak. Dak got his contract right before the game tipped off. I think it was like 12 o'clock. They played at 4:25 Eastern time. Around 12:30, I got an alert that Dak got a contract. It was 4 years, $240 million, $230 million fully guaranteed, which was the Deshaun Watson match on there. So he got that, $60 million a year. If anybody out there does math real quick, $60 million a year. Dak Prescott, I mean, hey, Dak ain't the best quarterback in the league, but he's damn sure not the worst. Like, I think Dak goes out there, he does what needs to be done. Now, does he falter in the playoffs? Yes. But is he as a good regular season quarterback? Yes. Is he going to be consistent for you? Yes. Does he keep you viable? Does he keep you in the mix? Yes, that's what he does. So, I mean, $60 million is a lot of money, but the market is what it is. Salary cap will go up. By the time they're finished paying it, I mean, he'll probably drop down. It'll be another quarterback that comes along and get more. Mahomes will probably restructure. So it won't look as bad in a couple of years. But, hey, I can't be mad at it. Like, if I'm a Dallas fan, yeah, you don't win in the playoffs. But if you get rid of him, what's your options? You got Trey Lance and Cooper Rush, if he's still on the team. I don't even know if he's still on the team. So, I mean, you keep that. You go draft the rookie. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Michael Parsons. You got a good team. As you can see, you guys won the game 33-17 against a Browns team that was expected to be pretty good. Without that, you throw a rookie out there or some pedestrian quarterback, what you going to do? Like, that's not going to happen. So, I think you got to be kind of happy about this. You got him for the next 4 years. You'll kind of see what it is. On the other side of that ball, like I said, Dallas won 33-17. Man, we got to talk about Deshaun Watson. I was a Deshaun Watson fan. That was my guy. I've always been a Chargers fan, but I rooted for Deshaun on the low because it was AFC, so I couldn't go too hard. But that was my dog. I just thought he was amazing. I thought he was like basically the best quarterback in the league, like him or Rodgers, Mahomes that time. But he was that guy for me. And just to see where he at now with all his stuff he had going on off the field, that was just wild. And I can't condone any of that. And then now he gets back and I'm like, okay, maybe it's all behind him, no criminal charges, maybe he can go forward and get his career back on track. And then we look up now and he went 24 for 45, 169 yards, 2 picks. Really should have been 4. Did have a touchdown. You throw the ball 45 times. You complete 24 passes. You barely over, 50%. And then you get 3.8 yards per attempt. That is just dink and dunk. That's not going to cut it. And then, the stats don't even tell the whole story. I mean, you have 24 completions and only 169 yards. The stats don't even tell the whole story. That was a bad game, man. He missed a lot of people high, a lot of people low. It's like he was running out of the pocket super fast. He was just, it looked like he didn't want to be out there, like he was scared. And then some reports came in after the game that, his dad passed away about a week or so ago. So, I don't like to get into people's personal life like that, especially players, because we don't really know what's true, what's not true, and whatnot. But, if his dad did pass, I send my condolences to his family. And I know that probably was hard to play with that on your mind. But, at the end of the day, he is a professional. He's getting paid a lot of money, guaranteed money, to go out there and be the quarterback. And it's, maybe if this was like the first time we seen him be like this, maybe we wouldn't feel this way we feel about him. But if you look at it, he was like this last year. He was like this the year before when he had a little bit of playing time. And the Browns were 4-1 with him last year before he got hurt, but it wasn't because of him. It was in spite of him. And they got Joe Flacco, and then they ended up going to the playoffs. So, yeah, I don't know. This Deshaun Watson situation is really ugly. I really don't know what they can do. They kind of backed into the hole. They keep kicking the money down the road. So, like, even if they wanted to cut him, I think he still hits their books for like over $70 million next year. And it's going to be like 100, and I don't want to give a wrong number, but it's over $100 million of dead cap. So they can't really do that. If you bench them, then you got a player that's going to hit your cap for like $70 million that's on the bench. And it's not like you can get out of it next year either. So I really don't know where they go from there. I don't know where he goes from there. Hopefully it gets better for him, but I don't know. I'll give him a little bit of a break because his tackles were out of the game. Left tackle, right tackle, offensive line did have some injuries and stuff. But again, it was when he did have a pocket, he was scared of it. He was running out of it, just making horrible plays. He had the interception that he had, one of the interceptions he tried to throw it through Micah Parsons. Like, I don't get what he was looking at. So I don't know, just really horrible QB play. I also will say in his defense, it was horrible QB play around the whole league. I mentioned earlier Herbert didn't play a good game. Well, he played a decent game. It wasn't horrible like this. He didn't turn the ball over, no lousy decisions, but you could tell he was rusty. But a lot of players did have bad outings, bad showings, and I think that might be a product of no preseason games and stuff like that. So hopefully the quarterback play picks up in week 2, including his. But right now, it just looks bad for them. It looks really, really bad for them. So we'll see if he can get back. But honestly, I don't think he can. But, anything's possible. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Other storyline that kind of caught my eye was this Tyreek Hill situation. Like, I don't know what that was about. The guy gets pulled over. I did see the body cam footage got released earlier today. And that is just crazy to me. Some people saying online, he shouldn't have rolled the window back up. It had dark tint on it, and they don't know what's going to happen. While I may tend to agree with that, like you probably shouldn't have rolled the window back up in the face of the police. I give you that. But they didn't have to pull the man out the car like that. When he rolled the window back down and then he opened the car, they snatched him out, put him on his back, knee in the back, grabbing him hard, and putting him on the ground. He telling him, I just had surgery on my knee. They pushing him down hard, and then they come just choke him up because he ain't answering the question. And then when you get the other players that come in, Calais Campbell's there trying to see what's going on. They arrest him or detain him. You get, I don't know who the other player was. I don't know if it was a player or somebody he knew. He telling him to call his agent, Drew. And they're like, if you show me your license, if you don't get out of here, we're going to arrest you. So it was just crazy to me to see them do that. And he did have something to say about it. He was like, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? And anytime you see something like this happens, you got to wonder that, like, if that was a regular person, like, and that stuff happens all the time, especially for black men, that happens all the time. So it kind of sucks that, that had to happen. But hopefully, I'm glad nobody was hurt. Hopefully the cops will be, whatever needs to happen to them. I don't know if they'll get fired or, if charges filed. I don't know. But hopefully they're held accountable for their actions. And, Tyreek Hill, again, glad he's okay. Crazy thing is, he went out there and he killed, as he usually does. He had this crazy touchdown, and where it looks like he was just going to run out of bounds, and he turned it upfield, and he's up the sideline, touchdown. And that kind of killed my whole fantasy. I'm whooping the guy that I'm playing, and then all of a sudden, Tyreek Hill does that. And then Joe Mixon scores late, and the next thing you know, I end up scoring the second most points in the league this week, 149 points, I think. And the problem was I played the guy that scored the most points in the league. So it just was that kind of weekend. Other fantasy league, Jordan Love gets hurt, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. So just a quick fantasy update. Yeah, I'm stinking it up right now. I'm 0-2 in my big money league. Well, one is, K money, other one's little money, whatever. But my other one I just do for fun with my family, that's the one I won. So I won the one that didn't have the money involved, pretty much. So yeah, whatever. We'll see. Hopefully we turn it around. And then last thing I just want to touch on about the week one before we jump into the bet recaps is I am a North Carolina resident. So although they may not be my team, I do want the Panthers to succeed. And it does not look like they are close to succeeding. It does not look like they are close to capable or just even a little feisty or spicy or anything. I thought maybe that this year that they were going to finally be a little bit, in the midst. Maybe not playoffs or anything like that, but I thought they would at least put up a fight against these other teams and, give people a little scare and maybe ruin some playoff hopes. I thought maybe that was their path. And after watching that week one game, I just can't see it. Like this was another team that was a underdog against in the home opener or the opener of the season against a division rival, which again, those teams are 71% of the time they win the games or cover the spread. And the Panthers from the beginning of the game did not look like that they could win, that they could even compete, that they should even be on the same field. And the Saints is not a team that we expect to be good. Well, I know I don't. I don't expect them to be good. I think they're going to be like okay. I think they're going to be decent competing, but like this should have been a way closer game unless we're just misjudging the Saints all the way around and we're kind of misjudging the Panthers. I can say I probably misjudged the Panthers for sure because if this is what they have out there, it's not going to work. So, O-line still is terrible. The receiving weapons that they got is like water pistols weapons. And Bryce Young, man, it's kind of early to say that he is a bust, especially with last year. You don't have a weapon. You don't have a running game, really. You don't have any blocking. Adam Thielen is your best receiver, which it's not 2016, is 2024. Adam Thielen being your one receiver is not going to get it done. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Coming to this season, again, they get weapons. Still got Adam Thielen. I guess he's your 2. You drafted Xavier Leggett. I guess he's your 3. And then you trade for Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. I guess he's your 1. We actually had an argument in the group chat about this. I mean, Panthers fans seem to think that Deontay Johnson is a good 1. And what he said, and I'm paraphrase, is he's a good 1 for a bad team. So whatever that means, you take that for, I didn't know what it meant. I just felt like, okay, well, if he's a good 1 for a bad team, then he's not a 1. But, okay, whatever. I'm not going to argue that. Let me get back on track. So, yeah, we got Bryce Young out here. He's supposed to have weapons, supposed to have a running game, supposed to have improved offensive line play. Head coach is supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. He did it with Geno, did it with Baker, and he was supposed to do it with Bryce. I know it's only week 1, so I'm not saying that he can't, or I'm not saying that Bryce is totally cooked, but it just looks bad, man. He is super small out there. Like, he looks like my little brother playing out there, or my little brother from like 2 years ago. Not now, because that guy's huge. But yeah, it was like a little kid running around. Offensive line again was pretty bad, but I mean, Bryce goes 13 for 30. That's horrible. 161 yards, averaging 5 yards per attempt, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's just not gonna cut it. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch the entire game by any means because this was on during the 1 o'clock window, and there was a lot of other better games on. But so how I have my setup, I have my main TV with the four screen split, and then I'll have another TV dedicated to just one game. And so that one game was the Panthers and Saints. So I'm watching the bigger games, and I'm looking down. And it seems like every time I look down, it was either him running and throwing it in the dirt, him getting sacked, or overthrowing the receiver by 8 yards, throwing it in out of bounds into, to the coaches on the sideline. And then I even remember watching, I'm like, okay, Bright, Saints go down, they get the long pass, Derek Carr, long touchdown pass. Well, he had 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, went 19 for 23, had a great day. Looked like the old Derek Carr. That secondary is just horrible. They got no tackling. D-line, I thought it would be better. That was horrible. But yeah, first play for the Panthers, I'm like, okay, Derek Carr goes out and he scores his touchdown. Let's see if Bryce can come back and lead a drive and maybe get a touchdown or a field goal or something like that, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. His first pass, he threw an interception. Like, he missed the guy. He threw it right over the guy's head into an interception. And the thing is, the problem with that concerns me, the inaccuracy, is when he came out of college, that was his calling card. That was what he could hang his hat on, was that he was going to be an accurate passer. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. But he was supposed to be super, super accurate. And which is why people believe it worked. Hey, he's small, but he's so accurate that we're going to be able to design a short game and get the ball out quick and accurately, hit these slants, hit these drags, short routes, and kind of, get the ball down the field, get it to the backs. And that's what I thought the game plan was going to be. And that's kind of what they voiced. And that's kind of what they tried to do last year. They thought that they could get players and just get the ball into their hand and just let them run. But he is totally inaccurate. I don't know if it's his confidence or what, but he's missing players high, missing players low. And when he does try to throw the deep ball, it's too far out of bounds. If he throws it up the sidelines, it's 8 yards out of bounds. Like, the player has no shot at it. And then it's like if the line gets any push into him, he cannot see. So he has to get out of the pocket. It's just bad, man. It's bad for the Panthers. Derek Brown is supposedly out for the season with a knee injury, so that just got worse. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't do anything. They had Kamara had 83 yards and a touchdown, averaged 5.5 yards a carry. Backup Jamal Williams averaged 3.5 yards a carry, and he had a touchdown. Like I said, Derek Carr looked good. So yeah, it's bad for the Panthers, for the hometown team. So I hope they get it together. Not this week because they play the Chargers. I fully don't expect them to go out and be 0-2, but hopefully, they can get a couple games, or maybe they don't, so that way they can kind of reset. I don't know what they would do in the draft. If Bryce plays like this the whole season, I know exactly what they're going to do in the draft if they get a top pick. So we'll see how that works out, but come on, Panthers. Y'all got to turn it around. And Panthers fans, y'all told me a lot of stuff changed, and y'all told me a lot was going to look different this year, and so far it look exactly the same. But I will be at the stadium this week, so I will see it up close and personal the entire game. So it won't be no running from it. So we'll see. We'll see this coming up Sunday. I guess you guys can look forward to a loss this week and then start preparing for the draft. So hopefully you guys turn it around. But if not, You always got that draft to think about. At least you got your first round pick this year, right? All right, moving on from the sorry Panthers, we got bet recaps time. So I'll go over. I give out a lot of plays. I give out parlays. I give out player props. I give out spreads and money lines and overs. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get into it. So again, like I said earlier, I did really well this week. So I hope you guys tailed some of that, and hopefully you guys made some money. So we had Philly versus Packers over for the over of 49.5. That cashed. That was the first play. That was the biggest play of the week, easiest play of the week to get that money. I went Colts plus 2.5 versus the Texans. That cashed. We went Saints money line. That cashed. We went Seattle -6 versus Denver. Cashed. We went Chargers. I did 2 plays for the Chargers. So I went Chargers versus Raiders under 40.5 total for the game. And I did the under 20.5 first half total. Both cashed. We went Chargers money line versus Raiders as well. Cashed. Went Cowboys plus 2.5 versus the Browns. That cashed. We went Cardinals plus 6.5 versus Bills. And they almost won, but it cashed. And then we went Lions money line versus the Rams, which also cashed. And they tried to blow it, but it cashed. So we good there. We did take some losses, though. So I kind of hedged my bets with the Panthers and Saints. I did Saints money line, but I also did Panthers plus 3.5. Thought they might keep it close. Biggest miss of the week. Like, that was not close at all. I don't even know what I was thinking. I actually went to a party, and the Panther fans kind of gathered around me, and they start kind of convincing me that it was going to be competitive, and I took the bait, and I listened, and yeah, that's my fault. So if you did that one, I'm sorry. That's my bad. It won't happen again. Titans versus Bears. Bruh, that one pissed me off because that was an easy cover. And I'm in a group chat with a Bears fan, and I told him Titans plus 4.5 versus Bears this week. And he argued me down. There was no way that was going to happen. And in the third quarter, I'm feeling good. I'm taking a victory lap. I text him. Titans up 17-0. Titans plus 4.5. Green check. Fourth quarter comes around, and Will Levis decides, I hate the Titans. I want to play for the Bears. Let me give the ball to them. The special teams decides, I also hate the Titans. Let's give the ball to the Bears. And they end up winning the game 24-17 with only scoring 3 points offensively. And Caleb Williams was pretty bad. Like that, it was pretty bad. But again, I didn't really use him as a headline for the week because I don't want to go in on him too bad. He's a rookie. None of the rookies really look good. If you remember, I did say that rookies struggle. So I didn't really expect him to go out there, and which is why I was back in the Titans, which is it would have been accurate. It had the defense not went crazy. So, that was my take. I had the Titans plus 4.5, and they had it all the way until about halfway through the third quarter. Or really the fourth quarter, they still had it going into the fourth quarter, and they just kind of vomited all on themselves, and that kind of just ruined the whole game. So, Will Levis, you are dead to me. You will no longer be on any of my slips. And Caleb Williams, I hope you turn it around because I need you now. Jordan Love is out, so you are now in on my fantasy starting lineup. So I need you to turn it around. Turn it around really quick. You got a big game coming up on Sunday, which we'll get into in a little bit. And, no more Titans bets around here. No more of those. So also another team that kind of screwed me over, Commanders plus 3.5. Honestly, not going to blame it on them. I'm going to take it. I'm the one that just said a minute ago, rookies struggle, especially on the road. I don't know why I didn't back Baker. Baker's looked amazing. I thought Canales leaving, and they had some defensive starters, injured a little bit. Had some concerns about it. Felt like Baker might take a little step back. He played great last year. Thought maybe Commanders could sneak up on him. I mean, they didn't look horrible. Well, they kind of looked horrible, but Jaden Daniels didn't look horrible. He was probably the best rookie quarterback of the weekend. Did a lot of running. Most of His throws though, they were like very dink and dunk, but that was all of them. Like they all had a lot of short stuff. These guys were. It seems like they were terrified to throw it downfield. So not gonna take too much on it. First game of the season for those guys. Most of them played very limited in the preseason, so not gonna go too hard on them. But then we did Jets plus 4.5. Yeah, missed by me. Big whiff. Jets, I don't know. Like, they get all this season hype. I know it's the 49ers. I know the 49ers are good. But the concerning thing is that they said that the defense was going to be the best in the league or one of the best defenses in the league. They said that Aaron Rodgers coming back, and as long as Aaron Rodgers can be okay, he doesn't have to be MVP Rodgers. As long as he's better than Zach Wilson, that they will be able to hang with anybody. That's what they told me. And Aaron Rodgers was way better than Zach Wilson. He had that great drive. I think it was third drive of the game. And they went right down the field, scored. Breece Hall mixed in there. You got Breece Hall, you got Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson on that one drive looks like he was just, snatching everything. Everywhere he threw it. He had like 5 catches on one drive. And so, yeah, then all of a sudden, it's like the offense really couldn't move the ball as well, but the defense couldn't stop anything. And it's not like it was just in the beginning. They stopped them good on that first drive, and then I think they scored on the next 8 drives that they had, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown. And they should have had another touchdown had you caught that pass in the end zone that he dropped that Peyton Manning kind of went crazy about. So that was just an ugly outing for the Jets. If this is any indication of how their season is going to go, if that defense can't get better, and I fully don't expect them to get it together. I believe they have the Titans this week, who I just finished killing. So I think they should get it together against them. But then you got Dolphins Jazz over 49.5. I still think it was a good read. I thought the Dolphins had a high-powered offense. I thought the Jazz did. They got off to a slow start, started to pick up towards the end. Tua had over 300 passing yards, but it just, I don't know. It just didn't translate to points well. Kickers missed a couple kicks. So, whatever. That sometimes you take those and you just take the loss on that. And then Ravens plus 3.5 versus the Chiefs. Ravens and Chiefs, I don't know what I was thinking. I should have just stayed with the Chiefs. Again, that was one of those things of letting a Ravens fan talk me into it. So it won't happen again. Ravens play anybody else, I'll bet them. They play the Chiefs, it won't happen. So we'll move on. Player props, we did good. I had a couple in here that I spread out and played individually, like Brian Thomas Jr. over 42.5. That was super easy. I remember saying that was probably my favorite play of the week as far as player props go. That was super easy. I think he's going to get a lot more work. So if you got him in fantasy, go ahead and start playing him. He looked really good out there. But I had some other stuff that I parlayed together. Honestly, I missed on basically every one of my parlays. I think all my parlays I had like 6 parlay slips in. They all came up empty. I had one that cashed last night for the Jets game with Breece Hall, touchdown, Deebo Samuel yards, Garrett Wilson's yards, and Ayuk yards. And that ended up cashing, and Brock Purdy to throw a touchdown as well. That cashed for a little come up there. So I was happy with that. But I was super pissed about this parlay that missed anytime touchdown parlay. I had Aaron Jones, who got a touchdown. Joe Mixon, touchdown. Travis Etienne, touchdown. Mike Evans, touchdown. Raheem Mostert, no touchdown. That killed me. Because the odds were so trash and the money would have been so great. But hey, this is how parlays go. That's why usually when I bet those spreads, I'm betting those straight. I might parlay them together with one or maybe 2 that I really, really like. But for the most part, I'm betting those lines straight. And I that's just way more consistent bankroll building for me. And then once you get to a certain point, you can start putting a little more on this one and this one and this one. So that's how I kind of do it. You can do it however you please, but just know when I'm giving out the over totals or the spread totals or whatever the case may be, I'm most likely betting that stuff straight. I'm not really doing them parlays. I do player props for parlays, and don't really get that lucky with that. So it's not my thing. Parlays are not really my thing, but I'm better at looking at these lines. I am better with player props when it comes to NBA. I will say that, and I can straight line some player props, maybe one or two pits on a ticket. You have to put a little more money up to win something back, but that's kind of my formula. So whatever fits you, whatever is good for you. I know everybody has their own system. Go do that. But again, all in all, pretty good weekend. Expect to keep the ball rolling. And then this week, the games though are really, really weird though. So I was looking earlier. We got 8 games this week with at least a 6-point spread. That is kind of ugly, and it just makes me not really want to touch a lot of stuff. So before we jump into that though, we have Thursday night football, Bills and Dolphins, and we have Miami currently favored by 1, and then we have some places 1, some places 1.5. So it's kind of like a pick 'em. I kind of like the Bills. In that. So I don't know though. The thing is though, Miami's offense is just so explosive, and the Bills defense is just not there. They lost a lot of people from last year, and then Tyron Johnson, their DB, is supposedly going to miss the game. Well, it's trending to miss the game. We don't know if he is or not yet, but that's how it's kind of looking. And then, so I don't know what their defense does. I will say one thing to watch on Miami's side, though, they did have the DNP for Mostert and Achane yesterday. So yeah, that could be in the Bills' favor, but I don't know if they're going to play or be limited or how that's going to work out. But I do like the total in this game. It was up to 51. Now it's at 48.5 as of this morning. So if you can get it somewhere around that, I do like it. If you watch the Bills game, they couldn't stop a nosebleed, and nobody could stop them either, though. Cardinals couldn't stop them. And when I watched that Dolphins game, when I watched the Dolphins game, nobody could stop the Dolphins either, in the second half. So I think, Dolphins kind of a little bit shaky, like a lot of the teams were this opening week, and I think they kind of get their groove back and get points early. I think the Bills do that as well. I don't see the Dolphins really being able to stop them because they couldn't really stop the Jags early either. So I think it's going to kind of go back and forth. So I like the over in that game. That's the only thing I really like about that game right now, the over, and I kind of lean in Bills plus 1.5 or plus 1, whatever. So that's kind of what I looked at so far. Tyreek Hill is always a threat to score a touchdown. So if you're into anytime touchdowns, you could look at that. And probably Tua's passing yards probably will be pretty good as well. But yeah, so that's the stuff I'm kind of looking at for those. But back to that 8 games this week of being over at least a 6-point spread. We got the Ravens minus 9.5 at home versus the Raiders. We got 49ers minus 6 at the Vikings. We got Chargers minus 6.5 at the Panthers. We got Cowboys minus 6.5 at home against the Saints. We have Lions at home minus 7 versus Bucks. We got Chiefs minus 6 at home versus the Bengals. Texans minus 6.5 at home versus Bears, and Eagles minus 6.5 at home versus Falcons on Monday Night Football. It's too early in the week right now for me to say definitively what to bet because these lines probably will come down. But just looking at those, those are crazy spreads. Honestly, it's a lot of teams with a ugly chance to win a game, so that is a lot. But I think the Ravens can cover their 9.5 spread against the Raiders. Being at home, coming off that loss against Kansas City, I think that they will come out trying to prove it. It just really comes down to how much will they keep their foot on the gas if they'll start to let up. I don't see the Raiders being too competitive in this game at all. Lamar did not practice on Monday, so we don't know. Injury report comes out tomorrow, so hopefully he's not really hurt. Maybe it was just a rest day or something like that, but we'll see. Harbaugh didn't really give out anything. He just said injury report comes out Wednesday. That's really all he said. So, we'll see with that. But I mean, I kind of like the Ravens 9.5 and that. 49ers at Vikings -6. Again, I'm probably not messing with that. 49ers should roll, but Kevin O'Connell finds a way to score the ball. So, even though it's a good 49ers defense, Sam Darnold was there last year, practiced against those guys a lot. So I don't know if he knows something that we don't, and we kind of slip up on that line. So I think I'm probably just going to stay away from it. Yeah, if I bet it, I probably, I don't know, Vikings might be the side. I might just throw a little something on it. I mean, hey, we'll see. I mean, I'm going to talk to Data and see if he can talk me into it. So we got Chargers -6.5 at Panthers. I'm a Chargers fan, of course, so I want to say that we're going to cover that and beat them. I mean, we need to score a touchdown, beat them by a touchdown. Our offense is just so run heavy that I just don't know. Like, if we're not running the ball well, then I don't know where the points would come from, like, for us to win by a full touchdown. Although, with that being said, Panthers did really look really, really bad, and Derrick Brown is out, their best run defender. So, and Kamara was able to run all over them with him in the game. So I think we could score the points. And then also, Herbert's probably going to be better. And then the only thing that really scares me is usually once a team gets embarrassed like that, they usually try to come out, especially at the home opener. Everybody's saying how bad they are. They usually try to come out and try to fight hard and stay competitive. Even if they lose the game, they're not going to lose it how they did before. And then we're flying across country, start time at 1 o'clock. So our team's body clock is 10 a.m. So I don't know. I think we're gonna win the game. I would definitely hammer the money line, but -6.5, little rich. It opened at 3.5, and then that's how you know that it just swings so much. By the time the Saints had finished burying the Panthers, the line was all the way up to 6.5. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how far it keeps creeping up. If anybody puts money on the Panthers to cover, the line will come down, and I'll be way better, way more happy taking it at like -5.5 or something like that. But yeah, we'll see though. But I still like our money line though. Cowboys -6.5 at home versus Saints. I like the Cowboys to cover. I mean, the over. I love the over in that game. Cowboys score. They score points, man. Like, even if you find a way to score a lot of points on them, they score points. Like, the only time they don't score points is in the playoffs. But in the regular season, they score points. The over, it was at 45. Oh, no, it was at 43. Then it moved up to 43.5, and now it's at 45.5. So, get it if you're gonna get it. But I do like the over in that game more than the spread. But I wouldn't be opposed to the spread either. Lions -7 at home. I don't understand this line. I mean, I think they're kind of overvaluing the whole Lions are covering machines. They do cover a lot, and they're at home. But I just watched the Bucs. I mean, granted, it was Washington, but Baker moved up and down that field. He didn't have any resistance. I think, they say golf plays indoor. Well, Baker is going to play indoors as well. And I don't see the Lions were supposed to be so improved in the secondary. I didn't see it. They didn't. I mean, they gave up everything. Rams got everything. Offensive line was banged up all over the place. Puka Nacua is out. Cooper Kupp got like 21 targets. You had other players that I didn't even really know were on the team like that or playing big roles on the team who were just gashing them. So I think Mike Evans and Godwin are in for big days. So I like Bucs +7. I don't know if they win the game, go to Detroit and win the game, but I just think laying 7 is a lot. So give me the points on the Bucs, and I couldn't look at the over as well. Again, they couldn't stop anything. Also, the Bucs are going to be down like 4 starting DBs, so I think the Lions will be able to have their way with them, the secondary, and because they really have problems. Like the D-line, the Bucs D-line is going to be really usually pretty good and cause problems in the run game for them. And what happened with the Lions against the Rams, they kind of got away from the run game. So they might come and try to establish it, but they also might just go to the air, which I think would be a better matchup for them. Chiefs -6 at home versus Bengals. Don't want to touch it, but if I do, I think Bengals are the side. Again, I'm going against the Chiefs again, but the only reason is because the Bengals just got beat by the Patriots. I don't think they're going to go out there. They might not win, but they have this history. They have this thing where they can kind of beat the Chiefs. I know it's early in the season and Bengals usually, the Bengals usually struggle early in the season, but I think that they will be able to go out and kind of keep it competitive. Texans -6.5 at home versus Bears. I think they cover easily. I just don't know. The Bears have a great defense, but the offense right now to me it doesn't look well. Rome Odunze is going to be out. Keenan Allen was limping around. His heel is hurt, so we'll see where that goes. Caleb Williams was scared to throw the ball downfield. You have Stingley on the other side. I don't know. We'll see how that turns around, but I think they have some stuff to kind of work through on that offense right now. I didn't like what the offensive coordinator was calling. They did not run and get ball to establish the run at all. So I think they have to do this week as the Texans gave up a lot of running to the Colts. So I think that's something you could take advantage of, but we'll see. But I still think Texans cover -6.5. Eagles -6.5. I like them to cover too. I might fade it, but I like them to cover. Falcons, another team that lost at home. Kirk looked really uncomfortable out there, and it's primetime Kirk, and we all know how Kirk does in primetime. So I like Eagles -6.5 to cover that pretty easily. But again, I'll be back later in the week, maybe Saturday, Sunday, with a short video of what I'm actually putting in. But those are what I like right now going into week 2. And yeah, so and one more thing I didn't mention is Colts -3. I don't know if I'll bet that or not, but with Jordan Love being out, I just thought this was crazy. The line was Packers -3. Now it's Colts -3 with the Jordan Love injury. So that swing is crazy. So they value that much of a difference on the quarterback, which it should be, but it's just crazy to see the swing like that. So again, that's probably a game I'm fading, but I'm going to do some more research and we'll look into it as the lines continue to shift throughout the week and the injury reports get out there, and we'll come back and figure out exactly what it is we're going to be betting. But for now, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that I made you guys some money this week with those week 1 games. I hope everybody enjoyed those games. I hope your team won. If they didn't, then sorry for you. It sucks to be you. We are 1-0. So we are going to strive to 2-0 this week against the lowly Panthers. Sorry, Panthers. Sorry, North Carolina mates and all of that. But ready to go to the game. Super excited about it. Super excited for the rest of these week 2 games that's going to kick off. Hopefully we make more money. And again, I'll see you guys in a few days, and we'll go ahead and get our bets locked in for the week. Some spreads, some overs, some money lines, all of those good things that we love. So before I let you guys go, I just want to remind you one more time to make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and also drop a comment. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever, repost, like, share, pass it over, show a friend, tell a friend, whatever you got to do. Thank you guys for tuning in to Can't Be Explained. This is episode 2. I will see you guys later on in the week so we can go ahead and get our bets locked in. I'm out of here. Peace.